We move along now into the featherweight division here at Clan Wars. We got Lewis Irwin in the red corner taking on Francie McGinley in the blue corner. Both wearing black trunks, so the shin tattoo is McGinley is the best way to look at this one. Phil, your referee once again is Mr. Aaron Wallace. Featherweight bout, two of the best about to throw down here in the Clan Wars cage. We're on their way. Long rangy Francie McGinley. You like to think, looking at it off the outset, Phil, he'll try to use that reach and range.
Yeah, he took the center of the cage right from the get-go, trying to assert his dominance, trying to work off that jab. Must have smelt a little bit of blood in the water there because he completely rushed Lewis Irwin. Francie McGinley. Both these men, to be honest, coming from absolutely fantastic camps. Yeah. Lewis Irwin coming out of EFR under coach Davey Patterson, and Francie McGinley coming out of combat jiu-jitsu under head coach Keir McFadden. Combat jiu-jitsu really have kind of pushed forward and forced their way into a dominant position as one of the premier teams in the country.
Both fighters staying relaxed and comfortable here, and that's a key component to this part of the fight. Is if you're tense and constantly fighting, you're going to drain your gas tank. So both fighters relaxed and good balance up against the cage by Lewis Irwin currently. Aaron Wallace just slapping McGinley's hand. I think that was just to get off the cage.
McGinley, great head position there, trying to get that head underneath the chin of Lewis Irwin. Could be in, needs to connect those hands together for the double. Nice split base from Irwin. Big dump double from Francie McGinley.
He almost waited when Irwin was shifting his weight to the right-hand side to use that momentum to pick him up and get that takedown. Potential knee on belly here, but the cage could be obstructing that, and looking to get back to his feet is Lewis Irwin. He does so.
Nice work from Irwin.
Nice explosive work, just
has one underhook, trying to turn in, as you say, establish another underhook. McGinley wise to it and doing really well, keeping the pressure, perhaps looking for the trip takedown. Again with that head, just underneath the head, controlling the movements of Lewis Irwin. Looks like he's trying to set up a big knee to the solar plexus.
It's Irwin who throws the knee, counter strike.
I would like to see Francie try and get that leg behind the knee. There it is. Perhaps go for a trip pull takedown, turning the corner on it.
A good balance by Irwin, and he keeps doing it. The head position is something we talk about regularly, Phil, in MMA, trying to stuff that head under the chin, but Lewis is almost going below hip height to try and stop that dominant position with the head.
Very intelligent work, and those are the kind of fundamentals that he'll be working on diligently at EFR.
I opened the round by saying he'll look to use that long reach. I could not be further from the truth. High crotch, beautiful.
Again, that's two huge takedowns for Francie so far in this fight. Francie getting fancy in there with some beautiful takedown work.
And again, exhausting work by Lewis Irwin, getting picked up, constantly trying to defend that, then getting taken down, then getting back to his feet, which he has done again. Credit to the EFR man.
Lewis on the break. Both men reset.
Goes high with a kick. That was your 10-second clapper. Looks for the Superman punch, and it's almost like he's just trying to gain the respect here of Francie McGinley at the end of the round. And story of that one, Phil, is the two big takedowns, and ironically the song that starts in between rounds, the opening lyrics were "Lift Me Up."
Beautiful work from Francie McGinley. What he did so well was he almost conned Lewis Irwin into thinking that they were going to stay in a striking exchange. Once he saw that Lewis planted the feet, it was at that moment that he rushed in for the takedown so that he could use that momentum to his advantage. Two beautiful, big, high-scoring takedowns. And for me, the momentum lies with Francie McGinley right now.
And McGinley was calm. As I said, both fighters were relaxed in that position. They didn't want it to be tense and rushed, but it was when Lewis Irwin made a movement. In the first takedown, he leaned a little slightly to his right, using that momentum. Francie McGinley clasped and got a big takedown and a beautiful high crotch later on in the round. So, again, as you said, he used the potential of stand-up fight to get the takedown. So now he's got Lewis Irwin coming into the second round, worrying about the takedown. Will he open his hands? Let's see. End of the first round, ended with Irwin just trying to get some shots off to gain respect, and that's where he's starting here again.
Again, McGinley taking the center. Again, throws big strikes. I fully expect him to land those strikes then get in for a takedown. Use that as a distance closer.
It just looks like a little that Irwin is just struggling to get in range of Francie McGinley. Again, much longer limbs.
Nice pop-up jab there from Lewis Irwin.
So what's in striking distance for McGinley is just out of range. As you can see, Irwin is just trying to abandon, just come forward, but a nice 1-2 off that low leg kick. And
beautiful jab, that really popped.
And almost see Irwin is throwing so forward, his momentum is over carrying, and he's got to be careful. If he gets countered there, that could be it.
From what I'm seeing, what he needs to do is throw punches and bunches, with the caveat of maybe the first 1 or 2 not landing, but using those to close the distance. And it's the 3 and the 4 that are going to be the punches that land for him.
It's almost like he's not 1 step in distance. He needs to take 2 small steps to get into that distance and then throw.
It's a lovely chopping leg kick from the combat jiu-jitsu man.
But given different looks is Francie McGinley. Again, the first round was about takedowns. He hasn't even looked to threaten that in the second round.
Again, it's almost like he's giving Lewis Irwin a little bit of time to feel like he's settling into a striking exchange.
Just halfway point of the second round here at Clan Wars 37. And Lewis Irwin really is having difficulty navigating that range. Tried to step off with a hook there, but again, just out of range is Francie McGinley.
I like the footwork of McGinley. He's creating some beautiful angles and taking Lewis Irwin where he wants him. There's the big strikes.
Inverted eye poke here, and that looks strong, and straight away wincing, and the mark in the eye of McGinley. And it's an age-old argument. Now with amateur gloves, Phil, they are curved.
Yeah.
So you constantly hear, if you watch the Joe Rogan podcast or listen to Joe Rogan, any chance he'll get, he will talk about with curved gloves. And if you were to have a close-up look at the amateur glove here, there is a slight curvature. So essentially, that's not the done deal resolution for eye pokes in MMA, because as the hands are still open, you need your fingers to grapple, obviously, but the curved amateur gloves still doesn't stop an eye poke.
I think it's just human nature, especially when you're moving backwards, to extend your hand and put it out. And I think that unless you're going to take a point every time it happens, there's very little solution glove-wise that I can think of.
No warning there by Aaron Wallace, so I imagine it was just an inadvertent accidental poke, and McGinley happy to continue on. But Phil, as a fighter yourself, do you take advantage of this? You try and rush, you all of a sudden throwing left hooks constantly because that right eye could potentially be injured?
But it doesn't seem to have bothered McGinley as he charges right in and again uses that barrage of strikes to close the distance and get in on a takedown.
Again, maybe that is because the eye is just could be a disadvantage for him, so he's closing that distance for the first time in the second round. That's the first time he's done that.
We may see McGinley change levels here, or perhaps again try and get that right leg behind the knee of Lewis Irwin and try for a trip takedown.
Nice knee to the side to keep Irwin honest. And believe me, they only might look like a pop shot, but they hurt driving the knee into your thigh. Again, this is the position I was talking about, Phil. You can see McGinley trying to get that head position, and Irwin is going right down below hip height to try and stop that. Right in front of us here in commentary. But Lewis, in fairness to Lewis Irwin, on a lot of them exchanges up against the cage, he's stopping the takedown. He has shown good takedown defense up against the cage.
So it was a better round for Lewis Irwin. I still think that the more dominant work was done by Francie McGinley in that round. But I think, especially going into the third and final round, what Lewis needs to do, he needs to be proactive as opposed to being reactive. What I'd like to see him do is take the fight to Francie. We haven't seen.
We've seen that a little in this exchange here, Phil. He was trying to get in close, leaping in with a shot, and as you said, almost throwing a shot not to land. He tried it there with a lead hook and finished with the kick, but this is where McGinley exchanged and the inverted eye poke happened. But again, McGinley, smart, it shows the fight IQ, comes out after that eye poke and says, okay, I'm not going to stay in range. Potentially vision may have been blurry, we don't know that, only McGinley does, but he closed the distance, got it up against the cage, and potentially negated the work that could have been done by Irwin with the susceptible eye.
So again, it's going to be very interesting to see what changes or what little bits and pieces Irwin has been told in the corner to implement in this third and final round.
I imagine it could be you need to set up your shots and just don't rush in. Potential of counters on McGinley's side. McGinley's corner are probably going to be saying, yeah, do exactly what you've done the first two rounds. More of the same. You're keeping him guessing. He doesn't know if you want to strike or if you want to try and take him down, so keep at it.
More of the same. If you score the takedown, great, beautiful jab. They were going to tell him, if you score the takedown, great. If an opportunity presents itself to use that blue belt level jiu-jitsu that you have, take it. But right now you're dominating the exchanges. Your wrestling looks strong, so just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. And again, exceptional distance management again being shown here. He's just constantly just out of range, but it's allowing him to be in his range. The advantage of the big man.
Nice little step off hook there from Francie.
And Irwin is trying to land the, I suppose, the counter to being the smaller man is a big overhand right, and he has tried to land it multiple times throughout this fight. No success as of yet. He's still got over just 2 minutes to do that, though.
And again, great cage control from Francie McGinley, taking up the center, using beautiful footwork to bring Irwin where he wants him, but Irwin lands a lovely leg kick of his own. I'd like to see a little bit more of that, please. It's
the nice footwork with McGinley down now, and he pops behind the jab. He's feinting constantly. He's just throwing little feints on the hips and moving the head, and there's the little legs and the hip switches just to see how Lewis Irwin reacts to it. When he sees the reaction, he goes, okay, I've downloaded that information and I'll pop you with a jab. It's good work by him. He is using his tools, using his arsenal well.
Halfway point of the third and final round. What can Lewis Irwin do to try and change the tide of this fight?
You call for urgency, Phil, from him, and I don't think it's a point that he knows he needs that urgency.
He just
but
can't
it's a
find
matter
that
of,
gap. He can't find, and that speaks to how good Francie's defense is as well, by he's not providing any of those gaps. It's almost like on a merry-go-round that somebody's spinning and you're trying to find an appropriate time to jump onto it.
I was never good at that. But it's just looking for the point. It's almost like, right, I'll go now, and it just, when he does that, a little feint will come from Francie, or he will counter, and there it is. He's trying to jump in with let's call it a half Superman punch, and McGinley gives him a jab for his trouble. So good reading by Francie McGinley, and he's really controlled the tempo of this fight. He has led the dance. And you expect maybe a little bit of frustration and a little bit of desperate may come in here by Lewis Irwin. But it is Francie who's controlling that center of the cage, working behind the jab. Beautiful head movement, beautiful footwork.
Barring a massive change in momentum, Francie McGinley could be 15 seconds away from his first
right
win.
Hand there, try to follow it up there, Lewis Irwin, and he'll hear that clapper. And McGinley is willing to exchange as well.
10 seconds
Beautiful
left.
knee, and right hook to step away, and almost Max Holloway lights it. Yeah, I'm getting the throw down. Let's do it.
10 seconds left in a fight that he was winning. Francie McGinley decides, you know what, foot down on the throttle. Let's go. Let's leave it all in there. Beautiful fight. You see Lewis Irwin just having trouble figuring out the puzzle that is Francie McGinley. Francie McGinley, just a beautiful illustration, a beautiful demonstration of how to use range and footwork inside the Clan Wars cage. Here we see the closing stanzas of the third and final round. Lewis doing everything he can to try and take it to McGinley, but McGinley says, you're trying to take it to me? Have some of that back. Nothing left to do but to go to the judges' scorecards for your final decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for both fighters. After 3 rounds of action, we go to your judges' scorecards. All 3 judges scored this bout 30-27. For your winner, by unanimous decision, fighting out of the blue corner, Francie McGinley. Please hold your applause for Lewis Irwin.